Hello everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the Samsung Galaxy A26 and compare it against the iPhone 14 and see if these particular phones, basically how they compare, if they're worth buying, some pros and cons between both. So we'll take a look at that throughout this whole entire video. First things first, if you want to go ahead and pick up either one of these particular devices, links will be down in the description below. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these particular devices, the iPhone 14, which came out back in 2022, on the front side of this particular phone is basically going to be giving you a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. Now, this type of panel and this type of phone looks pretty good for the most part. I like the way this phone looks. It's not the ugliest phone in the world, but it's also not like the best looking phone of all time either. It's kind of like one of those like middle of the road type of phones. So I think that is a really big thing to kind of keep in mind here within this type of device when it comes down to it. So this type of phone I think is giving you pretty good capability when it comes down to that side. So it's a 60 Hz panel, you're still getting the notch up top, and it's not the biggest size phone of all time, but it's also not the worst. I think it's a good size phone. My current phone's still 6.1 inches, and I really do like the way that particular phone holds up and looks like from that side. So at least from that side, in my personal opinion, I think this phone does do a pretty good job at kind of giving you a pretty good capability when it comes down to that side. The Galaxy A26, on the other hand, this phone is basically going to be giving you a little bit of a bigger size display. So this one is going to be a 6.7-inch Super AMOLED display. So that is a pretty big size panel to have inside of a device, I would imagine. If you're going to go through and pick up a device, that one is for sure a pretty big size panel. So kind of keep that in mind. It's a pretty big difference here. You're also getting a 120 Hz panel inside of the Galaxy A26 as well. So that is actually a pretty crazy thing. Imagine going through and getting 120 Hz on such a cheap phone. I think that's a really cool advantage. And that is kind of another cool thing going on for this type of device when it comes down to it from that side. Now, the panel itself, it's giving you 86.7% screen to body ratio. The higher the better. The iPhone 14 is giving you 86%, so they're both roughly around the same as far as we can tell there as well. The Galaxy A26 is giving you a USB Type-C port, which looks great. I love USB Type-C, and you were basically getting that there. The iPhone 14 is giving you a Lightning port. So that right there is going to be another one of those key things to keep in mind there as well. If you're going to go through and pick up a phone, you are basically going to be going through and getting that type of capability inside of the iPhone 14 when it comes down to it from that side. So that right there I think is another really important thing to keep in mind there as well. On top of that, when it comes down to the back sides, both of these phones are slightly different a little bit. They're both giving you solid glass backs, which is great, but the iPhone 14 is giving you this dual camera setup. The Galaxy A26 is giving you a triple camera setup. So keep that in mind too when it comes down to it. If you're wanting the phone that's going to be giving you some better capability there, you're going to have to keep in mind that with something like the iPhone 14, that one might end up feeling like the overall better type of one, where the Galaxy A26 is still going to be a really good performing phone for the most part too when it comes down to it from that side. The iPhone 14 has IP certification with wireless charging. The Galaxy A26 does actually have IP certification this year, but it does not have any wireless charging. So that is kind of an unfortunate thing, but I don't think it's the biggest deal of all time either. Now, on top of that, when it comes down to their price tags, the iPhone 14 as of this point is going to be costing about $338. The Galaxy A26 costs about $299. So this right there is going to be another pretty big difference too. If you're wanting the phone, once again, that's going to be giving you a little bit of better capability here, a phone like the Samsung Galaxy, A26 might end up giving you a better price per dollar, capability, a better price per dollar standpoint might end up being the Galaxy A26, where the iPhone 14 might not end up giving you that. It might be a little bit more expensive. So kind of keep that in mind when it comes down to it from that side as well. Now, on top of that, when it comes down to some other areas of these devices, when it comes down to their cameras, this is another one of those really important things to keep in mind here too. Because when it comes down to both, the iPhone 14 with that dual camera setup, it's giving you a 12 megapixel wide and then a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera, where the Samsung Galaxy A26 is giving you a 50 megapixel wide, 8 megapixel ultra wide, then a 2 megapixel macro lens. So definitely, if you're going to go through and pick up a phone, I would still say a phone like a Samsung Galaxy A26. It's, the camera is okay, but you're only getting 4K at 30 on the back and 1080p at 30 on the front. Beyond that, you're not really getting the craziest, best type of device inside of something like a Samsung Galaxy A26 anymore. The iPhone 14, I think this phone is definitely giving you a way better experience. And with its additional 4K at 60 on the front and the back, I think that is in and of itself another really cool improvement for that type of device too. So if you are going to go through and pick up a phone, I would definitely look at a phone like a Samsung Galaxy A26 as being okay, but the iPhone 14 is definitely giving you a better experience. On top of that, when it comes down to, basically the software longevity of these phones, this is also going to be another one of those key areas. By looking at both, the Samsung Galaxy A26, it's still going to be supported with software for quite a few years. So if you're trying to get the phone that's going to be lasting you the longest amount of time, the Samsung Galaxy A26, as I mentioned, has the highest likelihood of lasting you for many, many years to come. So that is something that's really cool. I love being able to go ahead and buy a phone that's giving me like long-lasting software support, and that is kind of what's going on here. The iPhone 14 was supported with software for quite some time, and it still is. But if you're wanting the longer lasting one here, it's probably going to end up being something like the Samsung Galaxy A26, which is actually kind of crazy to think about. Battery life wise, I just did a battery comparison test, and I didn't do it between these, but I can imagine that the Galaxy A26 could end up lasting longer than something like the iPhone 14 from a battery life standpoint. It's not anything super crazy, but if you are wanting the phone that is going to be lasting for a longer period of time, there's a very high likelihood a phone like the Samsung Galaxy A26 could end up lasting for quite some time here in terms of battery life as well, which is another really cool improvement. And finally, when it comes down to the performance, the iPhone 14 is basically giving you that Apple A15 Bionic chip inside with 6 gigs of RAM, where the Galaxy A26 is giving you that Exynos 1380 chipset inside with 4, 6, or 8 gigs of RAM. So this is another one of those really important things to keep in mind here too, because if you're wanting the phone that's going to be giving you better capability, well, once again, it's probably going to end up being a phone like a, iPhone 14 here. The iPhone 14 is just going to dominate when it comes down to the performance. Like that is easily one of the better types of devices you could buy. And that type of phone is really going to be killing it. It's really going to be dominating it when it comes down to the performance side. The Galaxy A26 really is not that great of a performing device anymore. So, it just came out. I don't want to say anymore because it literally just came out. So you don't want to be stuck in a situation where that type of phone it's not really going to be giving you that many more software updates or that good of an experience anymore. And that's kind of what's going to end up happening here if you're not careful. You buy something like a Samsung Galaxy A26, that type of device is already going to kind of be stuck in the situation where it's going to be slow by the time you buy it. So I'd highly recommend not buying a phone like this in my personal opinion. And I think if you have the option to, I think going through and buying something like a Samsung Galaxy S23 or an iPhone 14 Pro, those types of devices would probably be the overall better types of phones to go and buy rather than these ones. I don't really think there's a huge reason to go and buy something like this phone anymore. And I think there's way better options out there to go and buy rather than this type of device when it comes down to it. So in terms of that kind of covers it up there for the most part. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, Solon.